आन्सर काय मिळालं लिव्हचं काय दिलं ना
Okay, sorry for late. May I audible? May I audible? Hello. May I audible? Screen is visible? Okay. Okay. In the last lecture, we have started unit number 5, distributed mutual exclusion. Okay, these are the syllabus. In the last lecture, we have completed the introduction part. What is the mutual exclusion? Why mutual exclusion is required? Next, there are classification of mutual exclusion algorithm. There are two types of algorithm: token-based algorithm and non-token-based algorithm. In the token-based algorithm, we have the unique token. With the help of this token, the user can access the particular resource. And in the non-token based algorithm, here the user don't have the any token, but with the help of the timestamp, okay, every user can access the particular resource. In the token based algorithm, the algorithm we see the algorithm is the Suzuki-Kazemi broadcast algorithm, and in the non-token based algorithm, we see the Lamport algorithm or Ricard Agrawala algorithm. Next, in the last lecture, we saw the preliminaries. There are a number of resources, a number of users, they want to access the particular resource. Okay, here we saw the control side. Okay, the user cannot directly contact with the resource. Okay, via third party, user can access the particular resource. Here, third party name is the control site. Means, for example, I am the user, I want to access the particular resource, then I will contact to the control site. Then control site will check this resource is available or not. If resource is available, then this control site give the reply to me, yes, right now resource is free, you can access it. Okay. Next, in last lecture, we saw the requirements of mutual exclusion algorithm. There are four requirements are required at the time of doing the mutual exclusion. First is freedom from deadlock. Second, freedom from starvation. Third is the fairness, and fourth is the fault tolerance. After that, in last lecture, we have completed a simple solution to distributed mutual exclusion. Here, we have taken the first algorithm, non-token based algorithm. In that non-token based algorithm, we have completed the first algorithm. The name of algorithm is Lamport algorithm. Okay, up to that, in last lecture, we saw up to Lamport algorithm. In this algorithm, we have completed the how users are requesting. Okay, this is the requesting part, executing part, and releasing the critical section. Critical section means if you want to access the particular resource, right now I am accessing this particular resource, then we can call I am entering in the critical section. Okay, what it means any user, for example, in last lecture we saw the example of the computer machine. In our CC lab, we have only one computer machine. Okay, in last lecture we saw the example of the computer machine. In the critical section means we have 10 users and only one computer machine is there in the CC lab. All the 10 users want to access this computer machine, but right now resource is only one, and we have the 10 users. 10 users want to access this computer machine. Then what is the problem? Here problem is we have only one resource and we have the 10 users. But at the same time, not all 10 users they can access this computer machine. Here a rush is occur. Sometimes collision is occurred. Okay, overcome this problem. Here we are using the mutual exclusion algorithm. In that, we saw the first algorithm is the non-token based algorithm. In that, we have completed the Lamport algorithm. Requesting the critical section means how many users want to access this resource, they can send the request to the everybody. Everybody means all 10 users, they can send the request with each other. This is called a broadcast request. And executed the critical section means out of 10 users, only one user can access this computer machine. This is called as executing the critical section. And releasing the critical section means after completion of the execution of this particular resource, okay, after 2 minutes, 1 minute, we'll provide the timestamp. After the completion of this timestamp, this particular user, they can release the resource because the remaining user want to access this computer machine, or remaining users are in waiting queue. Okay, next non-token based algorithm is Ricard Agrawala algorithm. There are two types of non-token based algorithm. First is the Lamport algorithm and second is the Ricard Agrawala algorithm. We'll see the Ricard Agrawala algorithm assumes the communication channel are FIFO. FIFO means first in, first out. Means here Allah send the request. We store this request in the queue. Queue means first in, first out. Okay. The Ricard Agrawala algorithm assume the communication channels are FIFO. The algorithm uses two types of messages, request and reply. A process send a request message to all other processes to request their permission to enter the critical section. A process send a reply message to a process to give its permission to that process. See here, first we have taken an example. This 10 user want to access this particular resource. Then first, this 10 user, they can broadcast a request. Means every user, for example, user number 1, they can broadcast a request. Means the user number 1, they can send the request to the every user. Every user means what about the remaining 9 user? They can send the request to the 9 user. Okay, all the 9 user, they can receive the request. Also, the user number 2 also they can send the request. User number 3 also they can send the request to the everybody. Those who want to access the particular resource, ज्यांना resource access करायचा आहे, ते user they can send the request to the everybody. Okay. Processes use a Lamport style logical clocks to assign a timestamp to critical section requests, and timestamps are used to decide the priority of request. Means in the previous algorithm, we was used a timestamp. This is a logical clock. We were used a. Each process PI maintains the request deferred array. Each process PI maintains the request deferred array, RD, the size of which is the same as the number of processes in the system. Okay, we'll see this. What is the deferred array? We'll see in the algorithm. Check it. First is the requesting the critical section. Deferred means right now this request don't have any meaning, or I receive the request from the particular user, then I doesn't want to send the reply, then I will say this request is the deferred request. We'll see what is the deferred. Okay, at the time of algorithm, we'll see. First, requesting the critical section. When a site SI want to enter the critical section, it broadcasts a timestamp request message to all other sites. We'll take the example out of 10 user. The first user want to access this computer machine. Then this first user send the request to the all remaining users. All remaining users means how many users are remaining? 9 users. When site AJ receive a request, AJ means user number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a remaining user. When site AJ receive a request message from the site SI, SI means, for example, take the example, AJ means user number 2. The user number 2 receive the message from user number 1. User number 2 receive the message from user number 1. It send a reply message to site SI if you once user number 1 send the request message to the user number 2, not user number 2, they will send the request to the all of you. Okay, we'll take the example of user number 2. User number 2 receive the request message from user number 1. Got it? Then the user number 2 send a reply message to site SI. User number 2 send the reply message to the user number 1 if site SJ is neither requesting nor executing the critical section, or if site SJ is requesting and SI's request timestamp is smaller than SJ, owner request timestamp, otherwise the reply is deferred. See, I repeat once again. There are 10 users. All 10 user, we don't know all 10 user want to access this computer machine, or they wish to access this computer machine. We'll take the example. The first user want to access this computer machine. Then what is the requirement? The first user send the request to the all remaining users. This is called as broadcast request. In that request, they have mentioned the timestamp of user number 1. The remaining users, they can access this request. We'll take the example of the user number 2. User number 2, they can receive the request from user number 1. User number 2, they have received the request from user number 1. Then, before sending reply message to user number 1, the user number 2 will check the condition. On which condition they will send the reply? First, the user number 2, they don't want to access this resource. Second, the user number 2 already has executing this resource, executing the critical section, or user number 2 has requesting to access this particular resource, but user number 2's timestamp is more than user number 1. Means user number 1 timestamp is smaller than user number 2. At that, okay, with the help of this all this condition, if this condition is satisfied, then and then only user number 2 give the reply to the user number 1. Yes, my timestamp is more than you, then you are eligible to access this particular resource. But after accessing the request from user number 1, user number 2 will check this condition. In that, the user number 2's timestamp is smaller than user number 1, then user number 2 reply is the deferred. Deferred means they can call it स्थगित करने request. Means user number 1 has sent the request to the user number 2. User number 2 will check the condition. In that condition, the user number 2's timestamp is smaller than user number 1. Then here we will apply the deferred. Here they can defer the request. Defer the request means your request timestamp is more than me. Then right now you are not eligible to access this resource. I am the eligible for accessing the resource because my timestamp is smaller than you. Correct? मतलब defer request कोणाची हे करतो? User number 1 ची request काय करतो तो? Defer करतो. Defer means स्थगित देतो. Because the user number 1's timestamp is more than user number 2. Correct? This is the requesting the this is called as requesting the critical section. Second is executing the critical section. The site SI enter the critical section after it has received reply messages from every site. It send a request message to, okay, site SI means user number 1, they can enter in the critical section after they can receive the reply message from the remaining site. Remaining site means 2 to 10. Or remaining 9 site, they can give the reply to the user number 1. Once the user number 1 has received the reply from the remaining site, then and then only the user number 1 they can enter in the critical section and they will access this particular resource. This is called as executing the critical section. Next, releasing the critical section. When site SI exits the critical section, it sends all the deferred reply messages. If RDI J is equal to 1, then send reply message to AJ and they can set the RDI J is equal to 0.
काय करू
Geeta Kolwar, please.
आता किती ना बघू मी
Mute.
नाही ना तुला फिलिक्स पण नाही ना डोक्यावर लावून द्यायचा.
नाही लारू द्या बस
Roll number Geeta, please mute your voice. Okay, thank you. Okay, releasing the critical section means once the user number 1 has completed his task, they want to release the particular resource, then this is called as exit. When site SI exit the critical section, then it send all the deferred reply messages to the all remaining users. Then they can set his own value is 1 and we'll take the example AJ's value is the 0 because the next user they will enter in the critical section. What is notes? When a site receive a message, it updates its clock using the timestamp in the message. When a site receive a message, it updates its clock using timestamp in the message. When a site takes up a request from the critical section for processing, it updates its local clock and assign the timestamp to the request. Okay, and everywhere we can use the logical clock for the time period. Performance. For each critical section execution, Ricard Agrawala algorithms require n-1 request messages and n-1 reply messages. Here they have required the 2 messages, request and reply. Thus, it requires the 2 n-1 messages per critical section execution. Synchronization delay in the algorithm is T. Okay, here we have completed the Ricard Agrawala algorithm. The main difference between the Lamport and Ricard Agrawala algorithm. In Ricard Agrawala algorithm, we are using the deferred request. Deferred request means, I repeat once again, if the user number 2 to 9 users, they can receive the request from user number 1. Then user number 2 will check the condition. In that condition, if user number 2's timestamp is smaller than user number 1, then user number 2, they can call this request is deferred request because the user number 2's timestamp is smaller, means user number is 1 is not eligible for entering the critical section. I am the eligible for the entering the critical section. That's why they have mentioned this request as deferred request. This is the main difference between Lamport and Ricard Agrawala algorithm. Any question between Lamport and Ricard Agrawala algorithm? These are the non-token based algorithm. Here we have completed the non-token based algorithm. First algorithm is Lamport algorithms and second is Ricard Agrawala algorithm. If you have any question between these two algorithms, these are the non-token based algorithms. If you have any question, please ask the question. Okay. The last algorithm of this chapter, or this is the last part of this chapter, is token based algorithms. In token-based algorithm, a unique token is shared among the sites. Here we have mentioned the unique token. Already we saw the example of banking. If you have token, then you are eligible to withdraw the money. Means you provide the token to the cashier, and cashier will give the money to you. This is a token. In token-based algorithm, a unique token is shared among the sites. A site is allowed to enter its critical section if it possesses the token. Token-based algorithms use sequence number instead of timestamp. See here, difference is between token-based and non-token-based. In the token-based, every site or every user have the token, unique token. Non-token-based algorithm, they don't have any token. Second difference is this token-based algorithm use the sequence number instead of timestamp. In the token-based algorithm, they are using that sequence number. In the non-token-based algorithm, they are using the timestamp. For this timestamp, this non-token-based algorithm, they are using the logical clocks. In the token-based algorithm, we see the last algorithm, the Suzuki Kazmi's broadcast algorithm. Suzuki's Kazmi's broadcast algorithm. If a site want to enter the critical section and it does not have the token, it broadcasts a request message for all the token to all other sites. Okay, in the Suzuki Kazmi broadcast algorithm, if a site means user, okay, now site means computer, machine, or anything, but the site means user. If a site want to enter the critical section means access the particular resource. If site want to enter the critical section and it does not have the token, but this particular site that does not have any token. This, for example, we take the example, the user number want to enter in the critical section, but user number 1, they don't have any token. Then user number 1 broadcast a request message for the token to all other sites. Then user number 1, they can broadcast the request. In that request, they have mentioned the I want token. Why token is required? If I have the token, then and then only I will be eligible for accessing the particular computer machine. Then user number 1, they can broadcast the request, they can send the request to all the users, and in the request message they have mentioned the token. They have mentioned the token means the user 1 want to token. Why token is required? If particular user have token means this user is eligible for entering in the critical section. See, means user number 1, they can send the request to all the users. Next, a site which purchases the token, who's have the token, they send it to the requesting site upon the receipt of its request message. If a site receives a request message when it is executing the critical section, it sends the token only after it has completed the execution of the critical section. Okay, and user number 1, they can send the request to all the users. In that, right now, user number 2 have the token. The execution is going on. At the same time, user number 2, they have received the token. They have received the request from user number 1. Then right now we have the token. User number 2 have the token. Who want token? User number 1 want to token. Already user number 2 have received the request from user number 1. Then the user number 2 send the token to the user number 1 after the completion or after the completion of its execution. User number 2 कधी token send करतो after the completion of execution. Means right now user number 2 they don't want to access this particular resource. He or she already accessed. Then and then only they will send the reply message to the user number 1. In the reply message they will provide the token number. Okay, see the algorithm. Similar like requesting the critical section. If the requesting site SI does not have the token, then it increment its sequence number RN if requesting site SI does not have the token, then it increments its sequence number and send the request message to all other sites. Okay, right now the user number 1 to 1 they don't have any token, then they can send the request to the all other users. At the same time they can increment the sequence number. Right now sequence number is 10. They can increment the sequence number by 1 plus 1 is equal to 11. When a site AJ receive the message, AJ means user number 2, it sets RN number to max RJ number if SJ has the idle token. Right now AJ has the idle token, then it send the token to SI. Right now SJ means user number 2 has completed his task. Right now token in idle condition. Then the user number 2 send the reply message to the user number 1. In the reply message they have mentioned the token, correct? This is the requesting the critical section. Next, executing the critical section. Site SI execute the critical section after it has received a token. User number 1 they can enter in the critical section. कधी करू शकतो after the receiving the after the receive the token they will enter in the critical section. And next is the releasing the critical section. Having finished the execution of the critical section, site SI takes the following action. First, it sets ln element of the token array equal to rn element. For every site AJ whose ID is not in the token queue, it appends its ID to the token queue. If the token queue is non-empty after the above update, yes, SI delete the top site ID from the token queue and send the token to the site indicated by the ID. Releasing means if the user number 1 has completed his task, then they can remove his ID from the queue and they will send send this token to the remaining users. This is the releasing the critical section. Performance, no message is needed and the synchronization delay is 0. if a site hold the idle token at the time of the request. No message is needed and the synchronization delay is 0. If the particular site hold the token, idle token, right now this token don't have any work, still this user, this site, this particular user, they can hold the idle token. At that time our synchronization delay is 0, or okay, we say the no message is needed. If a site does not hold the token when it makes a request, the algorithm requires n messages to obtain the token. Synchronization delay in this algorithm is 0 or t. Okay. Okay. Here we have completed the token based algorithm. Token based algorithm is every site have the unique token plus in the token based algorithm we will use the sequence number instead of timestamp. If particular user they want to send the request to the remaining user, at the same time they can increment the sequence number. Because why this sequence number has incremented? Because after the 1 day, 2 day or 1 year, we'll see how old this request. This is the current request or old request. With the help of the sequence number, we'll find out. This is called as token based algorithm. Here we have completed the Suzuki Kazimi's broadcast algorithm. Here we have completed the unit number 5. Name of unit is the distributed mutual exclusion. In that we have completed the introduction part, classification of mutual exclusion algorithm. Preliminaries, a simple solution to distributed mutual exclusion. Non-token based algorithm. In that non-token based algorithm, we have completed Lamport algorithm and Ricard Agarwal algorithm. The token based algorithm, we have completed the Suzuki Kazimi's broadcast algorithm. Here we have completed the unit number 5. If you have any question, please ask the question. If you have any doubt regarding the chapter number 5 or from 1 to 5 chapter, if you have any question, please ask the question. Anybody have any question? Up to that, we have completed total 5 chapters. Right now, 3 chapters are remaining. I think the last week of this December, you have the external exam. Miss, you have the externals. Project external or I think machine learning have the external, web technology subject have the external. Okay. Okay, we have completed the 5 chapters. We'll take the 5-minute break and then we'll start the chapter number 6. Okay, we'll take the 5-minute break. After that, we'll start the next chapter, the name of chapter number 6. Okay, we'll take the 5-minute break. Okay, may I audible? May I audible? Hello. Please give the reply. May I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, we start the next unit, unit number 6, distributed deadlock detection. Distributed deadlock detection. The syllabus are introduction, preliminaries, deadlock handling, strategies in distributed system, issues in deadlock detection and resolution, control organizations for distributed deadlock detection, centralized deadlock detection algorithm, distributed deadlock detection algorithms, avoidance and prevention algorithms, and last is hierarchical deadlock detection algorithm. We'll see one by one. First is the introduction. Okay, before we start the actual syllabus, what is deadlock? Anybody? What is a deadlock? You heard about this word in many times. In operating system also, you heard about this word, deadlock. What is deadlock? Deadlock means waiting for particular resource in long time. This is called as deadlock. For example, we have already taken the example, the particular computer machine, only one computer machine we have, and we have the 10 users. All 10 users want to access this particular machine, but at the same time only one user can access this computer machine. Right now user number 1, they have started to accessing this computer machine. Then remaining 9 users are in waiting condition. But waiting condition is 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, or 1 day is correct. This it's okay, but this all remaining 9 users are waiting for long life. Then this is called as deadlock. Means all the remaining 9 users, they know the user number 1 that does not release the resource. Then why all remaining users are in waiting? This waiting means deadlock. I repeat once again. Right now user number 1 are start the accessing the computer machine, and remaining 9 users are in waiting. After the completion of the user number 1, they can release the resource, because the remaining user they want to access this computer machine. Then user number 2, they are started to accessing the computer machine. After the completion of the user number 2, next user number 3, they have started the computer machine. But in some time, what condition has occurred? Which condition? If user number 1, they have started the accessing the resource, but they does not release this resource after completion of his own task. The user number 1, it does not release the resource after the completion of his own task. Then what will happen? The remaining users are in waiting queue for long life. Why? Because the user number 1, they does not release the resource. This waiting condition is called as deadlock. See in the introduction part, a distributed system is a network of sites that exchange information with each other by message passing. Right now, our lecture is going on through Zoom meeting. Means here, means we are accessing the distributed system. We pass the message between each other through this Zoom cloud. In distributed system, a process can request and release resources in any order which may not be known prior, and a process can request some resources while holding others. If the sequence of the allocation of resources to processes is not controlled in such environments, deadlock can occur. On which condition deadlock will occur? If the sequence of the allocation means use of particular resource, or this control side means in between resource and users we are using the control. This control side, it does not follow the sequence, at the same time deadlock will be occur. Means if the sequence of allocation of resource allocation, the sequence we don't follow, then only deadlock will occur. If we will follow the sequence of allocation, then the deadlock cannot be occur in our future. Means if the sequence of the allocation of resources to processes is not controlled in such environments, deadlock can occur. Means if any system they don't follow the sequence of allocation, then in the system the deadlock will be occur. Several deadlock detection techniques based on various control organization are described in this chapter. Here first part is the preliminaries. The problems of deadlocks has been generally studied in the distributed system under following model. First is the system has only reusable resources. Processes are allowed only exclusive access to resource. There is only one copy of each resource. First is the system have only reusable resources. The processes are allowed only exclusive access to resource. And there is only one copy of each resource. A process can be in two stages or two states. First is running or blocked. In running means right now, for example, our lecture is going on. Means this is the active state. Lecture is going on. This is a running stage. This is called as active state. The running state, a process has all the needed resources and is either executing or is ready for execution. Running state means active state. Active state means right now our lecture is going on. Means execution process is going on. Or I will take the lecture at 11:30. Means the process is ready at 11:30. In the two condition, our running state has is occurred. First is right now our lecture is going on. This is a running state, okay, means execution state. And second is at 11:30 I will conduct the lecture, means we are ready to attend the lectures, or I have ready to take the lecture at 11:30. This is the running state. Second is blocked state. A process is waiting to acquire some resources. A process is waiting to acquire some resources. This is called as blocked state. Blocked means particular process is waiting, a particular resource, a particular users is waiting to acquire some resources. Means user number 2 is waiting to acquire the particular computer machine. This is called as blocked state. Blocked state means they have already mentioned in the request message, I want to access this resource. We have the two types of deadlock, resource deadlock and communication deadlock. Okay, resource means computer, printer, scanner. These are the resources. Every user, they will use these resources. There are two types of deadlock. First is the resource deadlock and second is the communication deadlock. We'll see one by one. The resource deadlock process can simultaneously wait for several resources and cannot proceed until they have acquired all those resources. A set of processes is resource deadlocked if each process in the set requests resources held by another process in the set and must receive all the requested resources before it can become unblocked. In the resource deadlock means before sending any request to the particular resource, every user, they will send the request with each other. Means all 10 users, they can send the request with each other. Then they will decide who will access the first. Then the user number 1, they have started accessing the resource. Then what about the remaining 9 users? They are in the waiting queue, but in the waiting queue, they also want to access this particular resource. They will send the request to the resource, direct send the request to the resource. But user number 1 or particular resource, they cannot release this communication or release this condition or release this particular user. Then and then only here and in the system, deadlock has occurred. This is called as resource deadlock. Resources are computer, laptop, printer, scanner. These are the resources. Second is communication deadlock. In these processes, communicate with other processes among a set of processes. A waiting process can unblock on receiving a communication from any one of these processes. Communication means right now our communication is going on through the Zoom or through the internet. Correct? Next is the graph theoretic model. The state of process resource interaction is shown by resource allocation graph. the state of a process means user, a resource means your computer machine. Interaction is shown by a resource allocation graph. The node of this graph are processes and resources of a system and edges of a graph defeat assignment or pending request. A resource assignment is represented by an assignment edge directed from the node of an assigned resource to the node of the assigned process. A system is deadlocked if the resource allocation graph contains a directed cycle or not. Okay, in this graph, on which condition the deadlock has occurred? Okay, we follow the graph. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, C is equal to D. Okay, we measure the graph A, B, C, D, E. But I repeat once again, there are total 5 users. How many users are there? 5. A users are connected to the B, B users are connected to the C, C users are connected to the E. Okay, A user connect to the B, B user connect to the C, C user connect to the D, D user connect to the E. There are how many users are there? 5 users. Through this graph or through this directed lines, okay, this A user connect to the B, B user connect to the C, C user connect to the D, and D user connect to the E. Up to that, there is no deadlock. But this user connect to the A here. Here, cycle has occurred. Then here, there are maximum possibilities to occur the deadlock. I repeat once again. A user connect to the B, B to connect to C, C connect to D, D connect to E. After E, this E connect to the starting user A. Then here have the maximum possibility to occur the deadlock. There maximum chance to occur the deadlock. This is called as graph theoretic model. Next is in the distributed system, the system state can be modeled or represented by a directed graph called weight for graph. Weight for graph. In DDBS means distributed database system. I repeat once again. In DDBS, distributed database system uses access the data object of the database by executing transaction. Okay, for example, you are entering the username and password in online banking. You type the username and password. This request is goes to the database. In the database, they will check the username and password has correct or not. If username and password correct or not, okay, and they give the reply. In the reply message, they will check. Before sending the reply message, yes, this username and password is correct. You can open the next page. Or if username and password is wrong, then they will display the message invalid username or password. A transaction can be viewed as process that perform a sequence of reads and write of the data object. In distributed database system, wait for graph is referred as transaction. Wait for graph is referred as the transaction. Correct? Means in prelims, we saw the two types of deadlock. Resource deadlock. Resource means resources like computer, laptop, mobile. These are the resources. Everybody can access these resource. And the communication deadlock means right now our communication is going on. Okay, at the time of at the time of lecture, here also sometimes deadlock will occur because from 10 a.m. Only I am the talking with all of you. Nobody can give the reply, or they cannot talk with each other. Means not all the students are in the deadlock state. Okay, we can't say like. Means there are two types of resource deadlocks: resource deadlock and communication deadlock. Also, we have completed the graph theoretical model. Here we will see in the next lecture we will see wait for graph. What is the wait for graph? In the next lecture, we'll see the deadlock handling strategies in distributed system. There are three deadlock handling strategies: are deadlock prevention, deadlock avoidance, and deadlock detection. Okay, in the next lecture, we'll see this point. Up to that, anybody have any question? Please ask the question. If you have any question, please ask the question. Okay, you don't have any question, then one by one you can drop out. We will stop here. In the next lecture, we will see these deadlock handling strategies in distributed system. Okay, we will stop here. Thank you.